couple of days ago I bought this zoom. It's an 18-to-1 Fujifilm zoom, f3.5-5.6. It's not a zoom that has the greatest reputation in Fujifilm land, but I bought it anyway, so let's talk about it. Now, when I've gone on vacation in the past, I've often taken a point and shoot with a broad zoom range, and it's always worked out really well for me. I've got quite used to carrying around my old Nikon P7000, which had the equivalent 28-to-200 zoom range that this has as well. This is actually 27-to-206, but think of it as a 28-to-200. And I found that to be a very, very convenient vacation zoom, a great family zoom, a great just walking around zoom. Like we go downtown Toronto and just have a walk around. This is a great zoom to length to have. So I've always had my eye on this lens, but I never bought one until I saw one that was used and in great shape. So I thought, you know what? I can buy it. I can use it. So what do we want in that kind of vacation, family, walk around lens? Well, it should be small and light. That would be great. Well, at 18 millimeters, it is relatively small, but it is a bit chunky lens, but it is heavy. And when you zoom it all the way out, it gets quite large. So it's not bad size-wise, but, you know, it's not the same as this 16-to-50 kit lens. I mean, this is very light, very small, but the zoom range is rather limited. If I went on vacation with this, and I've done it in the past, I went on vacation with an 18-to-55, I took a telephoto zoom with me as well. So that's the issue. If you're going to go with something like this on an extended vacation of a week or more, where you're going to be going all over the place, you're going to at some point want a telephoto, and you're going to be fishing in your camera bag for it. This, you don't have to. You've got it with you all of the time. So that is one good thing. This has a linear motor, so it's relatively quiet, and it's fairly accurate and fairly fast. I mean, it's not as good as one of the most modern Fujifilm lenses, but this is a very dated design. I think it's over 10 years old. Nevertheless, it's quite accurate. And if you might remember the 18-to-55 that Fujifilm put out as a kit lens, that had a great autofocus motor in it as well. Now, as far as optical performance is concerned, I'm going to throw up some images here of some photos I took around the house. I talked about walking around lens. I walked around the house with it and took a few shots. The optical performance is fine for that kind of photography. You don't need to have $5,000 optics to go on vacation. Something like this is going to do a perfectly good job. One note, though, it is not recommended for the 40 megapixel sensor. It doesn't mean you can't use it. Yes, you can. If that's the only camera you have, comes with a 40 megapixel sensor, just be aware that this cannot make use of the full resolving power of the 40 megapixel sensor. That's all. But you'll still get great shots with it. Now, something else that's important in a travel zoom is that it's both dust and weather resistant. And that's very important. If you can be out and get caught in a downpour, you don't want to be out with a camera that's not weather resistant. So this camera is weather resistant, so is the lens. It has 5-stop optical stabilization, and this X Pro 3 does not have stabilization. And I'll put a picture of my old camera bag that I took at 1/8 of a second handheld, and it's quite sharp. No sign of any camera shake at all. Something that's important in vacation photography, because you can be in low light situations and have to shoot handheld at low shutter speeds. So you might have a camera that has IBIS. This one doesn't, but you can put it on front of any camera that doesn't have IBIS, and you're good to go. In fact, I found it to be quite good at 5 stops optical stabilization. Now, the other thing that's interesting about this lens, and I really like, is at the telephoto end, it has a 3.7-to-1 magnification ratio. That's really good for this kind of lens. So it means if you're out and you're in a flower garden, a botanical garden somewhere, and you want to take some flower photos on your vacation, rack it out to 135 and you've got a great, close-up capability in one zoom. And I often will put extension tubes on my zooms for use here in my studio, and it gets you close to 2 to 1 with the extension tube. So macro is quite good. Now, as far as the handling is concerned, there's a few things I really like. It's got switches for the OIS and for the aperture ring to turn it from automatic to manual. I love switches. I hate it when they bury it in the menu. So that's good. And the older zooms that Fujifilm put out have these switches. The newer ones are done with software, which I don't like. The handling, terms of the zoom, it has a little bit of a catch at the end, but other than that, it's smooth. Focusing ring is actually reasonably well damped, and so is the aperture ring. So that's fine. Those controls are just fine. As far as the weight and size is concerned, I like to work with a wrist strap and walk around like this, but because of the weight of this lens and the fact that the grip on the X Pro 3 is rather small, that would get rather tiring. So I think you're kind of, depending on your camera body, you're kind of stuck with using a neck strap. See, if I use this XS20, I've gone around walking like this all day with a wrist strap and I don't get fatigued because there's enough grip for my fingers on that large front grip. So it supports quite well. But with the X Pro 3, I have to squeeze. So something to think about. If you like to use a wrist strap, you need a grip. Otherwise, it's going to get tiring to hang on to all day. Otherwise, go with a neck strap. So all in all, my initial impressions is I'm going to like using this lens. As I say, it is chunky, it is heavy, but with a good neck strap, you can walk around with it all day. And I think with, from a usability standpoint, it's going to be one of my better used lenses. I'm probably going to use it more than I would expect. I often find when I pick up something like that, I think, well, I'll use it once in a while, and then find myself using it all of the time. So there you go. The 18 to 135 f3.5-5.6 vacation lens, walking around lens, family lens, and anything else you might want to use it for. So give it a try. Cheers.